There we go. Now it's recording. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Go.
Okay, so you came to me, you wanted to start this podcast on psychedelics, but why? Tell me what drove us to be here right now.
Well, actually, my boyfriend and I, we usually do psychedelics because, well, I do. He likes to just kind of do them whenever. I like to do them with intention, and like I like to have a problem that I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like this way. I've been irritable. I've been feeling this way and this way, but I can't figure out why. It's almost like a counselor to me. Like I go into my mind and I figure it out. Because like none of us can really figure out what our problem is unless we talk it out with someone or really like take down that wall that's blocking everything. And I feel like psychedelics really does that. Like it just breaks that ego and that wall and you're just left with staring at yourself. So like we like to take walks and stuff, so we were around and I was just thinking like, I don't know, it just popped in my head that maybe I should do a podcast about psychedelics and people's experiences and come to like people have such a stigma about psychedelics and how scary they are. Everybody I talk to about psychedelics are like, oh, I don't want to freak out and like jump off a building or something. And yeah, it's happened. And I know a kid that's almost done that when I was tripping with him, but it's not everybody. Right. It's not everybody. It's a bad stigma that is going around that people just think that that's what it is, but it's really not. I think if you use it responsibly, it can help with so many things and open up so many doorways for people. And I just want to get other people's perspectives and just make it not so scary and what makes it scary, what makes us feel that way on psychedelics, where did that come from? You know, I just really want to get to the bottom of it. And I want like psychologists on here. I want even child psychologists. I want all types of people to come together on this podcast and just tell me their feelings of not only psychedelics, but like human behavior.
Totally. I'm totally in agreement with you on everything that you said. And that would draw me into wanting to get a way to put the word out as well.
Yeah, I think that we should really fund studies. You know, I really think that there should be more funding towards that. Because, I mean, I've known people who are in the military who's taken them and been like, wow, yeah, like it really just, I got to the root of my problems. Like it really killed that ego. And like when they talk about the eye, I feel like mine's like, it's not open, but it's just wanting to, it's wanting to open here. And that's what that's.
Make it open. Just go like this.
Just go like that.
It will help. It really will. That's your intention of opening up your third eye.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. I wanted to pop out. Like AJ and I have visited Buddhist temples and all types of stuff, like to really get to the bottom. Like he started having an existential crisis like 3 years ago, and we've been dating for 2 years ago when his uncle died, and he just had it on psychedelics. He just had like this, realized he was terrified of death and being, you know, dying one day, and he just like had this like it would freeze him up, it would just make him, and he didn't understand why. So we started doing more psychedelics and like talking about it more, which, you know, as you do, I guess. And he was having like all these bad trips, and then we were just talking about it, and we were like started talking about his mom and how crazy his mom is and his past, and like he had a fucked up childhood, and we just like really got to the bottom of it. And just like when we moved out here away from all of it, he was like, yeah, like I think that's what it was. It was like my family and just like being told that I was nothing and just like never being built up and never being myself. And now I'm out here and I'm ready to be myself, and I'm realizing that I'm chasing things that I don't need to be chasing. I'm chasing love that I can't get, that I'll never get, and I need to be okay with it. Like it just really opened up his eyes. And then this last trip that we were on, it just really opened up my eyes. Like I think there's something to this. I think that people need to know.
It's true. And there is stigma, just like cannabis. I mean, how many people still don't want to talk about cannabis? They're like.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you smoke weed? I don't like, it's unbelievable.
Say that out loud?
Yeah, right? Even my mom's a principal. I could never talk about weed with her. She's trying to get my dad to smoke weed now.
Both of my parents are patients and they're in their 70s.
Hell yeah.
They have their medical marijuana card.
How long did it take them to get it?
Only a couple years, because I'm a recovered alcoholic. I've been sober for 16 years.
Good for you.
So when I got my medical marijuana card, it was after I donated a kidney. Her kidney failure was from ibuprofen for a migraine at the hospital. She was
Mm,
hospitalized. It killed her kidney. So once I donated, I needed to find a way to help my pain. And being a sober person, I was not on board with cannabis. I had to spend a couple weeks just researching it and then talk to them about it because they were like, "Oh my God, we don't want you to drink," you know. And I said, "This is not like that. It's not going to make me drink. In fact, I've never wanted to. It's been 16 years, but if
right.
I did, this could help me to not pick up again."
Mm-hmm.
That's cannabis. Anything I've ever done before, I don't even care about now. Like cigarettes, I would never even think about smoking again. Like it's just gone.
Really?
And I think a lot of that, though, also has to do with psychedelics because I've been doing them since 1988.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah. And so that I believe that knowing what I'm learning now about psychedelics and addiction, that when I have quit anything, I've quit. I've never relapsed. I've never had the desire to go back. And I think that whatever that switch is that psychedelics do in the addict brain did it for me from my past usage. It was already there.
Mm-hmm.
And mine started, I know we were going to talk mostly about mushrooms, but my psychedelic use started in 1988 on my 17th birthday. A pipe bomb went off in my high school. A kid who had been bullied snapped, made a mercury switch pipe bomb, which means as soon as someone touches it, the body heat sets it off.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a very small town from outside of Buffalo, and we had less than 2,000 people in our high school. And I had blood on me. It was the locker right behind me. So 8 feet, however wide a high school hallway is
Yeah.
where that bomb was. And I remember within a couple weeks, and I'd already smoked pot at that time. I'd already drank. Within weeks, a friend was like, "Oh, you should try this." And she gives me a hit of acid. And for some reason, there was no fear, no anything. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm skipping school tomorrow. I'm going to stay home all day and just feel." And I remember I put on Black Flag Damaged, the cassette, because it was the 80s. There weren't even
Yeah.
CDs yet. I put on Black Flag Damaged and listened to it over and over again. And now when I hear that, it's a very hard punk rock. It's very raw, but now it makes me happy when I hear it because it takes me back to that
Oh,
first trip.
you put the feelings together, what you felt during that time and everything. So now it's a happy memory for you. That's so funny. It's such a hardcore song, and you were like, yeah.
Damaged? Henry Rollins? What? And I did it probably 200 times before I graduated high school. Like that was my junior year, February 16th. And by the end of the next school year, because I dropped pretty much every day before school. And that's one thing that people don't understand is even with cannabis, I can still work.
Yeah.
Like you're not driven crazy. I mean, some people are, they might have a reaction or their dose is too big or whatever. I've never been out of my mind crazy. I've always had my shit together. Even I had one bad trip, and that was on the 10-year anniversary of Sid Vicious dying. I never tripped again. I never did it again after that. I had a bad trip right after homeroom.
Oh God, you were still in high school.
And it was the winter time, and you'll understand this because you know snow, those Zamboni things they used to clean the hallways,
Oh yeah.
you know, the melted snow.
Yeah.
Well, I got to first period, which was computer lab. This is the 80s, so these were Apple IIe's.
Yeah, like
And
old
I had this screen, and the
Oh, that's how I know when
had,
I'm tripping, when I look at my phone and it's just going, and I'm like,
no.
oh shit, here I am.
I looked at my English teacher, who also tripped with us because his son was also part of my circle. I looked at him and I'm like, I gotta go. And he looks at me, my eyes are just like this. And I go into the hallway. My friend comes up. He's like, dude, I don't know what I looked like, but he's like, dude. And he starts And then I just look at them and I puke because I didn't have breakfast. I just
Oh,
puked whatever
oh no.
Pepsi or
Been
whatever.
there.
And he shoves me down to the nurse's office. The Zamboni comes by and cleans up the puke. And I never ever touched them again until I got into cannabis and started learning more about mushrooms. We did mushrooms maybe twice in high school. It was not as popular where I come from as out west.
You were in New York, right? You said?
Yeah, upstate. Okay. Yeah. And then the whole bomb incident kind of got buried in my brain. Like, I remember telling the story how many times over the past 30 years. And then a couple years ago, I'm at my mom's and she goes, do you remember that bomb? And something in my brain, like at that moment, turned and clicked into place. And I was like, holy fuck, I have PTSD. Like at that moment, I realized I had PTSD from that incident.
Oh, wow.
Because I have trouble, like we were talking about, Mita. I can't be there after everybody gets there with the music, the DJ, the drinking, 300 people in one room. It's so loud and chaotic. I can't stay. Like, I literally have to go.
Does it take you back to that hallway that you were in with all like
It's just so loud and noisy that I think my brain is just can't process all this noise into the right pockets. So I leave. But that doesn't happen anymore because of mushrooms.
Yeah.
And I only microdose. I've never tripped on mushrooms.
Oh,
I want
really?
to. Yeah, I want to.
Oh, you should do it.
There's a little bit of fear from the acid trip, but it'll be fine. I'll get there. I'm just working my way up. But the microdosing I've been doing for about 2 years. I started out with every 3 days for like 2 months maybe. But within the first or second dose, I was so fine. Like I felt so good that it was so quick. Like I couldn't believe how quickly that this tiny little disgusting looking piece of shit dried out.
Exactly what it is. Yeah.
Is what is making me able to go out and be a normal human being, basically. Not that I want to go out and be a normal human being, but
you're able to function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. Like, this is a pandemic. I live by myself. I've been home alone for March 16th.
Oh my God.
The day that I went grocery shopping for 3 weeks of worth of food, thinking it's going to be over in 3 weeks. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. So being that shit hit the fan, there's chaos. And I live right in the center of the valley. I'm at Central and Camelback. And when you go outside and there are no cars, that fucking hits you. The first day of lockdown, I'm getting chills right now thinking about it. I remember I did a tour on video of the neighborhood. Because this is like a really popular neighborhood with tons of restaurants and stuff. And I came back home and I sat on the couch and cried because it was like all the restaurants were closed. It was bizarre. It was weird. It was weird. And so since the pandemic started, I've been microdosing more often. So I would do like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Now I'm like, it's constant, but maybe it's like every 4 to 5 days. Like I don't do it as much, but it is.
It's good because you are supposed to only do it. AJ and I used to do that. We used to microdose. We started microdosing when he was getting out of his, like he used to have anxiety, like you were just describing. Just like he can be in crowds and stuff, but it was that during that whole crisis he was going through, he just would freeze up and have panic attacks. And that's just not, he's the chillest guy you've ever met in your life. Like he's just easygoing islander guy. Like it's just whatever, but he would like freeze up and freak out. I'd never seen him like that. And I was like, oh my God. So I started researching more, and we've tripped before together many times, but then I'm like, well, maybe we should just try microdosing, because I used to listen to NPR all the time. And I heard this woman would take acid, just a half a tab, and put it under her tongue every day. for like, I think she did like a year, and she had horrible depression, like horrible depression. And then she said she felt happy every day, and then she just stopped doing it after a year, and it like totally rewired her brain.
Yep.
So then I started looking into mushrooms, because over there it's way easier to get mushrooms than it is acid, because it just grows everywhere.
Well, yeah, it's the Pacific Northwest.
Exactly. You can just find it. You just have to go to a certain part of Washington, you'll find them. So
Yeah.
like I got some mushrooms, I crushed them all up, and we started tripping during work and stuff like that. Like not tripping, but like, you know, just microdosing. And he got better. We only did it, I did research, we're only supposed to do it like every like 3 days or every other day. You're not supposed to do it like every single day for however long.
Right.
You're supposed to do it like the way you did it and how you described it to me, that's the way you're supposed to do it. Every other week, like tolerance break thing go on. And that's supposed to basically rewire things. I think that's what really got him out of his shell and realizing like, hey, it's okay to be me. I don't need to please my mom. I don't need to please my dad. And you don't need to worry about other people. You don't need to be around that. You don't need to freak out either. You know, like it just totally like, I don't know. That's another thing I want to research. Why does it rewire? What is going on? What chemicals are going where? Like, why does that work for people? I think other people need to know too, so they're not like, whatever, it's just all these hippies tripping on and freaking psychedelics.
Yeah, and it's not like the friends that I have, after you start like just like smoking pot, your friends come out of the woodwork. You're like, you smoke pot too?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, now we can smoke together.
Come to my circle.
And I've got friends who are in jobs that you would never think of somebody microdosing on mushrooms while they're doing that job.
Oh, totally. It's a focuser too. It makes you focus. If you microdose.
All the lawyers talk about it. The lawyers here, they all seem to be doing it as well.
And it keeps you up too. It's like a caffeine. It keeps you up.
That's why I have to do it in the morning. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because for me, the first few times I thought, oh, well, I'll just do it right when I go to bed. That way I don't feel anything. You know, I was still a little afraid to feel any sort of trip or anything. But those nights I didn't sleep well. And I'm like, it must be just overstimulating my creative side, which is keeping my brain up when I'm trying to sleep. So now I just do it after breakfast. I need to have something in my stomach. I take it. Oh,
yes, please have something in your stomach.
Yeah. I just take a tiny piece. I put it in a glass of water with a squirt of lemon, which I learned from another mutual friend of ours, and it cuts down on the nausea. So.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that one. We usually make shroom tea.
Oh, yeah. And put a squirt of lemon juice in it if you ever do have that nausea from mushrooms. Because it wouldn't last long for me, but I don't want to be nauseous. If I can just put a squirt of lemon in there to take care of it, then I'm going to do it.
And it, like for me, when I come up, for some reason, when I do mushrooms and acid, when I on the come up, like AJ thinks I'm dying because I'm like coughing so much. I don't even know why. It's like one time we tripped when we were at a friend's house, I had a cold, and ever since then on the come up, I'm just always like hacking up a lung. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, it'll be fine. We can go out soon. And like I had that hack for like till like the peak comes, and then I'm like, all right, we're good. We can do whatever.
That is funny. That must be some sort of physical reaction that your body is processing.
Oh, it's every time.
I'm going to have to see. Tomorrow's my day to microdose. So I'm going to keep track of anything like that, because maybe that has happened and I just never thought of it, you know?
I don't even know how.
Maybe not coughing, but.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There was one time I had a really bad trip. He kind of did, but I had a horrible trip. And like, I stopped doing them for a while like you did. And like, I was trying to throw him up. I was like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to do this. I was like, he's like, you just need to relax. And I was like, I can't, I don't know how. And I was like forcing relaxation, which you don't force relaxing. And I was trying to force it. And he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm just trying to relax. And he's like, okay, just, and he started rubbing my back. He rubbed my back for 6 hours.
Oh my God. Well, so that brings me to intention. If I kind of make a ceremony out of it, not anything fancy, but I thank the plant as I'm putting it in the water, and I'm like, just think of how the rest of our day is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
and just keeping things positive. I'll light an incense at that time. I'll just make it a little woo-woo to keep me in that frame of mind, because I know from all the acid that I've taken that thankfully I've never had anything except for that bad trip that triggered anything negative.
Mm-hmm.
But you can control it. If you start out in a great mood, that's going to help you have a great experience with it. If you're starting out angry, depressed, crying that morning, that could play a role. That's your brain is in that mode and it could just exacerbate it.
Oh, absolutely. I actually, it's funny you bring that up. That is exactly true. I like to make a breakfast. I like to make sure my day is going to go like, I make a little nice breakfast, maybe meditate a little bit, just make sure I'm in a good mood. AJ likes to have bad trips because he feels, which he's not wrong, he feels like that's where you really figure out what the hell is going on.
Right.
And
he's a guy, forward. They have different issues and different ways to process it. If that works for him, so be it.
He does, he likes it, but I'm like, dude, I don't want to take care of you every time because I want to be on my trip, so you can do that, and like, I'll take care of you when I'm sober, but otherwise, I'd like to have my nice little trip where I figure it out. Like, you know, it's the journey that counts. I'll go around the world to figure it out. I don't want to go straight to it and be like, you know?
Right.
Exactly. There was a kid I knew in college that did that. He tripped. He was getting kicked out of school, and he's like, I'm gonna take these mushrooms. We're like, well, maybe you should wait, dude. Like, maybe we should wait till later. And he's like, no, I want to take them now. I just want to feel happy. We're like, you're not gonna feel happy, bro. And so like he took them, and we're like, okay, but we're gonna go play at the park with our friends. Like, we're gonna go play soccer. And so he's like, yeah, I'll just be here. So my friend Stuart went to go check on him. He knocked on the door. I shouldn't be laughing at this, but he knocked on the door, and he heard like a bunch of stuff like being banged over and stuff. And he's like, Matt? And he kept knocking, and then he comes to the door, and he opened it just a little bit, and he's looking at him like that. And Stuart's like, dude, are you okay? And he goes, what? And he's like, what? And he goes, I don't know. And then he just walked away from the door, and Stuart was like, what? So he walked in, he said everything was all over the floor, and like friends were texting him and was like, hey, Matt like bursted in my room, like you need to go check on him. Like I guess he was going to other people's dorms. He didn't do anything, he just walked around and then left. And then he'd go into another dorm, walk around, and then he'd leave. And then he said he saw himself falling out of the window like 7 times, like he was dying. But he was just standing there. And then eventually someone had told our RAs, and they called the police, or not the police, but the ambulance, and they had to like take him away in an ambulance. But it's because he like, I don't think he'd even ever done them before.
Yeah.
And he didn't eat that day. Like there was a lot of factors into it. And that's what people are usually afraid of. People like him set a bad
Yeah, because that's what makes the news.
Exactly. But there was
this
a lot
stuff
of
doesn't make the news.
Yeah, no, not the good stuff. Not the, oh, I feel good and like, oh, it makes me, you know. I think you're totally right there with starting out with a good like meditating day and just like making yourself a little breakfast, little something to eat, drink, and then just like thanking it and like making a ritual.
It really, it makes it very joyful. And I think that in the times that we're in right now, which are just chaos, to be able to have, you know, that kind of joy and happiness and just lightness, it just, as soon as it hits, I just feel light. Like I don't feel it hit. The first time I felt it hit and I did this thing like that, and that was it. It was a microdose. But as soon as that first microdose hit me in this part of my life, I was like, and then it just went away.
You're like, that was like just kind of brushing it off your shoulders.
It was kind of like that. It was like, it was announcing that it was in my body. It's like, I'm here. And I was like,
I love that.
And it just, like I said, I'm here by myself all day. Being able to have something that just feels light takes away the heaviness of life. I mean, I'm a happy person. I
can tell.
I don't have, I mean, I feel emotions. I've lost a lot of people lately. No one to COVID, but I've lost 8 friends this year so far from a lot of different things. And I think it's the mushrooms that's making me grieve and helping me grieve. And I'm spending time crying. Like, I feel good about that though.
You should.
I think that we live in this society where we're not supposed to feel, and mushrooms makes me feel, and it doesn't make it harder. As soon as I'm done crying, it's over, and you know, I can move on. But it just works.
Mm-hmm. I think that's another thing. I think that we've been taught to shell up so much. Like, I don't know a thing about my dad's childhood. He never opens up. And I think that's what my boyfriend's problem is with his parents. They don't open up. They don't tell him everything. Yeah. So it's like, and when I first met him, he was a total shell. Never like tell me anything's wrong. Always have to brush it off. Always have to act happy. And that's totally wrong. Like, we should be able to say our problems. You can't say someone's a crybaby because they're actually being honest about their feelings. Yeah. You're supposed to cry.
That's why we have tear ducts.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. The release.
So speaking of release, you just said the perfect word, because I have watched every night of the Democratic convention this week so that I could be inspired and cry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what everyone wants. It's like 2016 all over again.
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of got to go vote. Like, I don't want to, but I kind of got to do it.
Yeah. But hearing the speeches from women in power the past few nights during the convention has just, it felt really good. It was, and I cried, you know, every time a woman inspires me. Anybody who inspires me, but this particular event is a lot about women in power. And I just laid there in bed watching it, crying and feeling great about it. Like, oh my God. So
that's good.
Yeah. And but then you're over it. You know, it doesn't the sadness or crying, it doesn't stick with you. You just process it. It's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Have you ever seen Midnight Gospel on Netflix?
No, but I'm going to add it to my list right now. What is that?
So, oh God. So that night where I was tripping, it's just funny that you bring this up. When I was tripping with AJ and I told him like, hey, I think I want to do this podcast. We actually turned that on before right when we were peaking.
Oh no, it's a cartoon.
I know, but I know it's a trippy cartoon. So that's
I know. As soon as I saw that, I saw the little.
It's like, weird.
The hot pink and everything. I'm like, oh shit.
We watched it and like I was kind of like, what is this? It looks fun. We'll watch it. We're tripping. It's gonna look really cool. And then I hear the guy talking. I'm like, who is this guy? I know this guy. I know this voice. I know it. And like we took a break because I was like, this is just too much. I can't do it. This is just too much. There's too much going on. And so like we took a break, left, and then we came back and watched it. And I was so into it. And then I realized, oh my God, I know this guy. That's Duncan Trussell. You know who Duncan Trussell is?
No. Who is that?
He's a podcaster. He talks to Joe Rogan all the time. His mom was a child psychologist, and like he used to have like really bad depression and alcoholism, and he talks about all this. And it's just, this show is him talking about all his past, why people do what they do, and like it's all centered around his podcast and the show. And he just goes to you have to watch it. It's hard. I'm
going to. I just added it to my list. I'll watch it this evening.
Oh God, the ending is just the ending episode is just I heard my boyfriend just sniffling, and I felt my face was just all wet. And I looked at him like, are you crying right now? And he looked at me and his face is just soaking wet. And he's like, yeah.
Oh my God, now I can't wait.
We're both just sobbing. I'm like, isn't this beautiful? And we're like, yeah, it's beautiful. It's like, it's sad, but it's like a happy sad.
Right.
And like, you just got to watch it. I've never cried at something so hard in my life.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
It's good. But it's just, that's what they kind of touch on, is it's a release, basically. And you'll see what I'm talking about when you watch. I don't want to give it away, but you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, don't say anything else. I will watch it. I definitely will. And release is so important because the American lifestyle is to work until you die. Mm-hmm. You're working just to pay your bills. And you're holding on to everything because you're supposed to. And that release, like I feel so free. And it's not a diss against any of my friends who are going through depression or anything like that. Like I feel for everybody. I've been on antidepressants in the past, but I feel so free when I can just freely release and just move on.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it doesn't, I didn't cry this morning over anything, you know, it was gone.
Exactly. Once you cry and you let that out, like I've never cried and just been like, man, I feel worse. Like I always just like once I cry, I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
I can
And
move
when
on.
someone dies, I love crying when someone dies because it's my way of honoring my relationship with
Oh
that
yeah.
person. And I talk to them and everything. They're gone, but I pretend they can hear me. And I'm like, look, dude, this is just because I miss you. Just let me get through this, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
You. Um, and the psilocybin, there's got to be something there that I don't know. I've looked into ayahuasca. I have not tried ayahuasca yet.
I haven't tried ayahuasca yet either. I really want to. I think Jane did, and she was telling me about it, and I really want to try it. Like, I heard there was like a shaman somewhere out here that does it.
There's a couple. There's one I want to go to in Kentucky. There's actually, have you seen Kentucky Ayahuasca, the
No,
show? Oh,
no.
it's on Vice. Okay. So Kentucky Ayahuasca is started by two couples. The guy was in prison multiple times he was a serial bank robber.
Oh,
And
sick.
yeah, you look at him and you're like, who's this piece of trash? Like, bank robber. And then the last time he went to prison, his cellie was a shaman from Mexico and got the different components of ayahuasca sent to him because you can get anything in prison.
Yeah.
And by itself, it's not
He
each
did this
ingredient
in
is
prison.
they tripped multiple times in prison and the Mexican taught him how to be a shaman. And then as soon as they both got released, he got a shipment with instructions. And now he and his wife have a church in Kentucky. And there's a TV show. There was, I think, 2 seasons on Vice called Kentucky Ayahuasca. And I just think it looks great. I mean, we all have stuff that we need to purge and get out from our past.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I really want to try it to tap into that third
Oh,
eye.
absolutely.
That's the main reason I want to do it because we all have abilities that go beyond human abilities, you know?
Yeah, we're only working at like 14% right now or something like that.
Yeah, and everybody has special powers.
Mm-hmm.
We all have special powers. Sometimes it just takes something like that to show you what your special powers are or to help you to hone your special powers.
Oh, for sure.
So that's my next thing.
Have you ever done DMT before?
No, I don't think I want to. My friend Sean he's done it hundreds of times, but he didn't have a babysitter one of the times, and he woke up in a bathtub with 50 stab wounds. He had stabbed himself 50 times. And he
on
was
DMT?
Yeah. You have to have a babysitter with you.
Yeah.
And he didn't, and he almost died. Like he woke up and he had bled out enough that he was in trouble.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So that one, honestly, I think at this point in my life, I'm going to be 50 in February. I'm sticking to what nature gave us. I'll let the young kids do all the crazy chemical stuff. I don't even know if I would do acid again. Probably not. I'll stick to Mother Nature and plant medicine because there's other psychedelics that, I mean, there's mushrooms. How many types of cactus? Peyote.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely believe we were meant to take all these natural psychedelics. They're here for a reason, and I think they were here to rewire our brain or maybe even have an understanding about the afterlife. Like, who knows if there really is an afterlife? Who knows? But I think, I mean, I don't know how religious you are, but
there is an afterlife.
I do believe that there is something. There's something. There has to be something, whether it's a gateway, I don't know. But like, I do believe that these psychedelics are also something to prepare you and to help you to understand. And I think even like, if you read the Bible, like half this shit, you're like, they're tripping. They're fucking tripping.
Drunk. They were all drunk.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I think like even as a kid, I was like hearing my priest. Like, I went to Catholic school my whole life, and I'd hear the priest talk about the burning bush and Jesus walking on water, and I was like, what are they eating out there? Like, they're in the desert. Like, what are they doing? I don't know. It's just crazy. Like, and that happened out in the desert where there's tons of psychedelics. It's just, to me, I think, preparation.
I think it would be so fun. Another show is Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. That is on Vice as well. And this is a chemist. His name is Hamilton. And he goes around the world to indigenous cultures to talk about their psychedelics. And there's so many all over the world. He goes to Peru. He goes to Mexico. He goes to Thailand, the Kratom. There's every episode is a different psychedelic.
Oh, too cool. Okay, I'm gonna look that one up. What's it called?
Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia.
Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. Okay.
It's on Vice. Both that and Kentucky Ayahuasca are on Vice. And if you don't have like a smart TV or Hulu or whatever, I think most of them are on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I don't have cable, so I'm gonna look it up on YouTube. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. I'll look that up too. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a great show, and it's one of those that I'll watch every episode 10 times.
Oh, like, really?
Anytime it's on, I'm like, ooh. It's like Forrest Gump. When you see Forrest Gump on, you're like, oh, I can watch this for a little while.
Oh, God, I love Forrest Gump. Yeah, I have the movie. I love it.
It's one of the best movies ever, and it's one that if it's on, I will just sit down and watch it.
I used to watch it all the time with my mom. It's so good.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. It's just this guy going through like every trial of life, like, and just like coming out of it like, oh, whoa, just falling into like everything. I just love it.
Totally. Like the shit happens on I don't think you were alive when this happened, but the shit happens was a smiley face sticker from the 80s that like everybody had.
Oh, really? No,
yeah. And then when he wiped his face and it was the smiley face and he said it happens, that came from, there was just some cool, cultural references in there.
It was so well written.
Yeah.
So well written.
It really was. I might even look for that today. A feel-good movie for the rest of my day.
Dude, yeah, I think everybody could use a feel-good movie right now and some freaking psychedelics, because I don't know if you probably haven't been outside at all. Have you dealt with anyone at all?
Not really. I mean, I have neighbors. I live in a small apartment complex. There's only 6 apartments. Okay. So I do have people to talk to. It's not like I'm like
totally just zonked out, just away from everybody.
Yeah. Jane calls every morning.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, that's awesome. I love Jane.
I'm very thankful that I have the friends I have, because people have brought me food, weed, anything, because I'm also carb free. So I'm like super stuck.
Dang, you are super stuck.
Yeah, and I have 1 kidney. So when I go out, I have to wear a mask. Like, it's not even a choice. I don't think it's important. But I always wear a mask because there's a grocery store across the street, but everything else I get delivered.
Honestly, it's not a total loss for you to be at home right now, because everyone is so crazy outside. Like, I come across people are just so into themselves and moody and like just trying to make everybody's day a bad day more than usual. Yeah. So like dealing with the general public is just awful right now. So I just want to I almost want to put you ever seen The Men Who Stare at Goats? They put acid in the water. I just want to put acid in the water and be like, all right, everybody figure out your shit. Just crazy.
Maybe you guys should just have the regular disposable cheap masks with a Sharpie smiley face drawn on it that everybody has to put on when they come in the door.
There you go. I love that. Just everybody has a little smiley face. We do have the disposable ones. Maybe I should just draw on all of them, just smiley faces. So they come in the door, we all just have a little laugh, and even the grumpiest people with their eyes like this, there's still a smile.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to do that without spreading germs, of course. But you work retail in cannabis, and that means you have to have patience with patients. It's hard.
Oh yeah,
it's hard because we're all patients.
Yeah, and cannabis is thriving because everyone's so depressed and at home right now that everybody just wants to buy it. So right now we're just to the top of the charts, and that's good. That's a good thing. That is a really good thing. But I was going crazy there because I was getting mad anxiety from weed. And I was telling Jane that. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I just can't even smoke indica anymore. I can never smoke sativa really, but I can't smoke indica now. And I just like, I keep getting really anxious and scared. And I don't know
So
what it
I
is.
wonder if that's a terpene or if that's a dose thing. Do you get that just from one hit?
One hit.
I think that that could be the issue. Here's how I look at it, because it's medicine. And like any medicine, there's a dose.
Mm-hmm.
And that might not be your dose. You might need 2 or 3 puffs to get everything out of that to hit your receptors the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Jane should be able to help you with that, but
She told me to meditate, but I think, yeah, I know.
she and I are the meditators, and we tell everybody to you need to meditate and quit eating sugar. We both tell everybody to meditate and quit eating sugar.
That's what she told me. That's like exactly what she told me. Actually, it's funny. She was like, sounds like to me you just need like a ritual in the morning. Like you need to just meditate and probably cut back on the sugar. And I was like, I have been eating a lot of sugar.
Yeah, sugar will kill you. I quit it a year ago. Only medicated allowed in my house. So I do have edibles because
Yeah, of course.
they're medicine, and I still like to have a little bit of a treat, but it's in so much stuff. The pandemic really was great for me because I had to cook everything from scratch. I made my own mozzarella cheese. Like that's how I went all out in cleaning up all the food in my house and eating properly. And some of the recipes have sugar in them, but when you buy food from the store, everything has sugar in it.
Oh, I know.
And it has more sugar than the nutrients sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in fact, I when I got takeout the first time, I'd been home for 2 months before I got takeout. I threw it up that night because there's just stuff in it. I was fine eating
that your
it.
stomach's not used to.
Yeah, I was fine eating it the next day. Like the rest of it, I was like, okay, I waited for this dish for 2 months. It's my favorite chef in the valley, my favorite dish from him. And he finally I told my girlfriend, I'm like, I will pay you to go pick this up and drop it off at my house, please. I will buy you your own dinner to take home, but we need this. And I threw it up that night. And I think it was just too rich for my system. Like I hadn't had all the different salt, sugar, fat that's in restaurant food.
Mm-hmm.
And it just really hit me hard. So I let myself order out just once a week now, but everything else is home.
Oh yeah, it's totally like a disease to your body. I didn't have McDonald's for 5 years, and then they came out with a breakfast thing during the day, and I was like, oh my god, I haven't had McDonald's breakfast in forever because I can never wake up for it. So I like ran over there after work. I loaded up on McDonald's. I got a bunch of hash browns and McMuffins, ate all of it, and then the next day I went to work and I was like, oh god, and like I had to leave. I had to go home. It was just, it really hit my stomach because I hadn't had it in like 5 years. So my stomach's like, because I was eating so healthy, because I was cutting weight, I was working out all the time.
Oh yeah, because you have to in your side gig as a fighter, you will have better performance without sugar. Like
we're definitely calorie counters, and we look at, it's hard, like you said, it's hard to find store-bought things without sugar. We have to go to like organic places, which is way more expensive, and get organically grown things if we don't want the sugar. And even then we kind of have to pay attention to how they're growing it.
You do. You have to pay attention to everything. And you know, another thing about the pandemic is I started growing tomatoes out on my little patio. I mean, I don't have a lot of spot, but I want to be able to grow my own food more to avoid all that junk, because that's what's making America sick.
Oh, absolutely. And
that's what's making America depressed.
Exactly. All the process in it, this circles back.
So glad we got to do this.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much.
Because now it's to the time where I gotta pee and get the dog out.
Oh
yeah, I can find more people to connect to you.
I would love it.
Okay.
And I'll have more questions and stuff if you want to do this again. And I know you gotta pee and like
appreciate if you want to do it again, I'm more than happy to. If after you watch this you're like, I don't know if I want to put that on YouTube, week, whatever. I don't care.
I think we had a great conversation. I think it's a
I
great
like
start.
that flow.
Yeah.
And I think a flow like that going forward, make sure you tell people this is a conversation flow. And you know, I will be asking questions, but we're really just chatting.
Yeah.
And
I don't want it to be like documented,
No,
you know, or
it's
like
too-
word for word. Like, I just want it to, like you said, flow. I just want it to be an easygoing conversation. I don't want people to think they're talking too long or whatever. I just want everything to just come out. No pressure.
Did you already start your YouTube channel?
I have my YouTube channel all set and ready.
Okay.
I just need to upload an edited video I took of me and my boyfriend when we were on acid talking, and then I'm also and then I'm going to put in this video and another video of me talking to a psychologist that I have.
Oh, cool.
In a couple weeks. Yeah.
What is your
on my phone?
There's something going on. All of my clocks are different for the past like 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, geez.
My computer says 4:19. My phone says 4:21. My bedroom clock, I think, was 2 or 3 minutes faster than my cell phone. I don't know what's going on.
You're in a Alice in Wonderland hole. Here, I'll tell you when it's 4:20.
Okay.
It should change. It's going to take forever to change now because I'm watching.
Because you're watching it.
Yeah. It's going to take like 5 minutes.
Settings. Who's your carrier?
I got Verizon. Now it's 4:20.
All right. Now we can smoke. Smoke them if you got them.
I don't have it.
You didn't smoke?
I don't have any, and I'm going to practice.
That I understand. Not having it, I don't understand because you're a bud tender.
Oh, no, I have it. I just didn't pack any. I usually smoke at night when I come home.
Yeah. I'm going to take a bath after I eat.
Next time, I'll definitely smoke with you next time we talk, I promise.
Yeah, anytime that you want to do this, just let me know.
Absolutely. I'll probably talk to you more often. I would love to have you on my podcast definitely more than a few times.
Oh, that would be so much fun. I love doing this shit.
Oh, good. I'd love it because I love talking. I feel like you're really open, and then you can give me a trip report. We can even probably do that. You can tell me how your microdosing went.
Yeah, because I'm going to do that tomorrow. Maybe I'll take an extra piece. What's my schedule like tomorrow? I have a call at 8 and that's it.
Well, I have a training at 11. I have the day off tomorrow, so I have training at 11 in the morning, and then I'm off for the rest of the day. So if you would want to,
I'll text you.
Yeah, I'm down to like talk to you while you're tripping or whatever.
Yeah, I'll text you if that's gonna happen.
All right, awesome. All right, you go do your thing, okay? Thank you so much again for talking to me.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. It was awesome.
Yeah, have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.